Very cool.
Good evening and welcome to the Recreation and Parks Citizens Advisory Board meeting. I'm Veronica Johnson, the chair, and we'll do roll call starting down on my right.
Good evening. I'm President Ryan Hanley.
Good evening, Dave McDonough.
Jeff Kennedy.
Sean Ritchie.
All right, so we do have a quorum. That's good. Before we get started, I just want to announce that we did get a resignation from Glenn Larnard today. So Glenn has really dedicated his time to the board for the last few years, and just want to publicly thank him, and also put out that if any of our audience is interested in joining the board, to please reach out, fill out an application. And, have your voice heard as well. So
Do we get to vote no on that?
I wanted to vote no, yes. But yeah, Glenn did great work, and I will definitely miss his input and expertise in sports and in the community. So, all right, our first action for tonight is to approve the minutes of last month of May. Is there any discussion on minutes? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Any second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Great. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started, and if the director can join us. Good evening.
It's great to see everybody. I will keep my updates brief, but I have 5 important ones. So when I arrived, we had already received a grant from the Economic Development Administration to build a new boat to replace our water taxi. That project has been fraught with all sorts of challenges, from the place that was going to design it being wiped out in Florida, to the untimely passing of one of the people that was going to build our boat, and things were looking very disappointing that we weren't going to be able to complete it in time. It had to be delivered by this September. We've been able to take a different approach thanks to staff, and we're working on the purchase of an already, it's a used boat. The other challenge we were facing with tariffs and the increasing cost of boats, the money we had was also not going to be adequate to build a boat. But this used boat is down in Florida. It's going to get all new motors. It'll be ADA accessible, and it'll get a new deck, and that will be delivered by in September. So that is very exciting news.
That's
that we have up
wonderful.
front. Yep. The second item of business is, since this group last met, we held a league leaders meeting with the SMYAC, the Southern Maryland Football Association, with our St. Mary's teams, talked to them about needs and things that we can work more cooperatively on. That went really well. Third item of business, on October 1st, House Bill 717 becomes law, which it deals with the open space program. This change that was made in the last session that ended, the big change is it gives the counties more flexibility on how they spend their apportionment. Traditionally, how it was a formula that said you have to spend this much when it comes to acquiring land for your park system, and then a certain percentage, 70%, are doing projects in your parks. This law, if you've met your land conservation goals, it gives you that whole apportionment, and you can decide.
Oh.
So that's going to free up some money for us and keep us from having any money at risk, because they only give you a certain period of time. So projects that I will be bringing to the commissioners next Tuesday that we'd like to take to an application phase include retrofitting at the 5th District Park for LED lights on fields 2 and 3, and then pickleball and tennis renovations for both Dorsey and Chancellor's Run.
Nice.
So you'll see that on the commissioner's agenda coming next week.
And you said pickleball at Dorsey and...
Pickleball and tennis
Chancellor's?
at Chancellor's and Dorsey. Yep.
Okay.
Fourth on the agenda is I had the privilege to attend, and Vice Chair Kennedy was there as well for the first ever middle school championship for Southern Maryland. A team faced off from St. Mary's and Charles County. which went really well. That was just, what's that, about a week and a half ago now at this point. It didn't help that the day before when we tried to schedule the game, there was hail at Chancellor's that was
No.
bigger than ping pong balls, I would say, is a safe way to go with that. So that game had to get postponed. It's been a very rough baseball, softball season altogether with the amount of rain. But on the other side, the golf course and some of our other amenities very much needed that rain. So we'll take what Mother Nature gives us. Number 5, I actually have some audio-visual cues. Yesterday, a group of us got a special behind-the-scenes tour at Camden Yards. Vice Chair Jeff was able to join us on that. I like to call this the meeting of the minds. Our tour was led by the head of grounds for the Orioles, Miss Sherry, talking to our golf course superintendent, and then Roy, who's responsible for parks. The amount of conversations about turf, what they do to make sure that playing surface. She took us out to the sod farm and pulled up and showed us some of the roots that's in the with the fescue that they use on the field. We had total access to all the areas, including the bullpen. I need a caption for this, Jeff. What would you call this picture here?
I didn't realize we
down
photobombed
there?
you so well.
I think it's like, man, our Chancellor's Field's just as good as Camden Yards. Who would have thought?
Actually, I think Roy did say that.
Yeah.
He did say, I
You
don't know
were
if it's true.
you forgot where you were,
or
right?
not. We were able to compare equipment that they use and things like that. Those type of things. They invited us into the kind of control center, which this is in the right field wall. This is where she's watching out and making recommendations on whether the game should continue on those type of things. And I think there's one more left in there. Maybe 2 more. We got access to dugouts. You can see Jeff there. And then just incredible, just 2 hours of our staff. I felt bad. We peppered her with so many questions, but she loved every minute of it, thanked us for coming, and she was going to stay longer than we wanted to stay. Like she was so, and she comes to St. Mary's County to visit frequently, really knew quite a bit about our county, and was thrilled to have us. So
That's wonderful. And
that
Jeff,
was
I'm
a
glad
great
you wore the
learning
right
experience.
Yeah, I was the only one. There was actually a Phillies fan in attendance, so that made for great
That's
conversation.
scary. Yeah.
I wasn't sure we were going to make it in the door, but
shirt.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it wasn't Yankees, so.
yeah.
That would have been awful. We would not have let him on the van if he had that head on. And then my final one is July is Parks and Recreation Month. So on the 15th during the commissioners meeting at 9 a.m. is a proclamation. Any of you that can join us, we'd love to have you out for that. And we celebrate what we do all year round, but that's a good time to kind of to talk about and think about some of the different things. And in our field, we're all July is probably the worst possible time for Parks and Recreation Month or Recreation and Parks Month. But we'll take it when we can get it because it's certainly a very busy time.
That's wonderful.
Any questions for me or you guys?
I don't have any questions on all of that. I did have a question, though, and I don't know why it popped in my brain earlier today, but where are we with the county daycare center? Is that still coming in your budget?
So it is on track to be, the building is just kicking off. There's been a demolition phase and the bid for renovations and things like that. The goal would be to have it up and done by next August.
Next
So
August. Okay.
14
I was
months from
thinking 26.
just
Okay.
kicking off kind of thing.
Okay, wonderful.
It will be a parks, recreation and parks facility, and we're working closely. Building Services is managing the project.
Okay. Board members, any questions?
Just a quick question. You said Chancellor's Park, they're going to do something with pickleball and tennis. Didn't they just put the pickleball courts in there like a year and a half ago?
Our goal is to move slowly, and we're working with the USTA on this, and we're looking at grants to have some dedicated pickleball courts. Our model has been up until this point that everything is shared use, and we're seeing a migration of players avoiding certain areas, and it's, when you have so many different lines and your ball can go very far away. So that Chancellor's is by far the highest level of pickleball that we have of anywhere of our parks. Our staff is also monitoring how many people are showing up for tennis and how many are showing up for pickleball to give us kind of better data that we have out there. And it'll be part of a bigger plan, but having some dedicated pickleball courts with the appropriate fencing for that, and then also picking places that we have adequate parking for that. Because you could have a tennis court that's been in a community that there's like 1 or 2 spots for, or you walk in, and if you go and you convert that to pickleball, you know, what 4 or 2 people were playing on might be 16 or 20, and you might not even have the capacity to deal with that.
So are we talking about building a whole new surface for pickleball?
It's
in
going to be a
Chance-
combination of things. In some cases, it's going to be converting 1 tennis court becomes 4 pickleball courts on that same space. It'll be upgrades, but it'll be a combination. This first step is just getting some dedicated pickleball courts, the first in the county. We have an indoor court, but no outdoor courts.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Great. Anyone else have any questions? No? So I'm assuming from Camden Yards, you got to bring back some good ideas on,
It was time really well spent. And even on the golf side, it was amazing how much the golf and turf management really related, and got saw some tools that they have that
Okay.
are very simple when it comes to hand tools and things like that they even build themselves
Okay.
because you can't just go buy them on the shelf. And got some great conversations about the special infield dirt that they use. Now they can do things to a much different level than us. You know, they have a staff of 10 full-time people to take care of that field, and then they bring in another 20 for game times and things like that. But I think in total we have 41 baseball and softball fields, and then 100. Well, the number is much larger than that when you look at all the different facilities.
and I'm sure they have a good budget too.
They have a good budget, and the stadium authority pays for half of all their equipment. We
And
learned
all their
that.
water.
And all their water.
Oh, nice.
Yep. She said the city or the town pays for every drop of water that they use.
Okay.
So they water away.
Oh, nice.
And all the struggles, she talked about how tough it is to make a call, whether a game should
Oh.
continue or not, and we feel her pain
I
on
was
that-
going to say,
about that.
yes. All right. Anything else, board? Okay.
I will turn it over to Jessica, and she, this month, we're talking about an update on what's happening with our strategic plan.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hello.
Good evening to everybody.
Good evening.
So I'm here today, so this isn't going to be new information, but a refresher. And what we wanted to do was provide an opportunity for the board to have an update on our progress with our strategic plan. So as you recall, in 2024, we approved the strategic plan that takes us through 2029. We'll start with the slides. So what I really wanted to provide you today is a review of our goals and objectives, where our department is making progress, some of the key elements for this plan, reviewing what our department commitment is, and then talk a little bit about the comprehensive plan as well. So our main mission is to provide an enriched quality of life for the community through the preservation of natural, cultural, and historical resources, enhancement of parks and outdoor spaces, and promotion of a variety of leisure experiences. So on the next slide, a reminder of where the strategic plan really came to a head, and it was with these pillars of success. And so we wanted to focus our mission and our goals towards customer service, fiscal stewardship, innovation for our organization, and then human capital, ensuring sustainability. And so that's where you're going to see these action items. Chrissy's a little excited. Come out of these goals. So here's a reminder of our 4 goals and highlighted kind of the key words. So when we're talking about customer service, we're looking for quality experiences, quality programming, and addressing our community's needs. For fiscal stewardship, we want to enhance our programs and services and generate growth and functionality in a sensible way. We want to make sure that we're promoting our agency stakeholders and community engagement through innovative means, while also preserving our natural, historical, and cultural resources. And then finally, we want to make sure we have a sustainable, leader-based organization supporting an innovative workforce that creates that organizational knowledge and delivering it to our customers in a positive manner. So from these goals, we set about some objectives. And so what we're doing a review is we've gone through 2 quarters now this year, or finishing up quarter 2, of the objectives that were labeled as short-term. And in each of those, we've got the action items that we will be addressing and give you an update. So you can see under customer service, we have 6 different action items. We've got 2 for our fiscal, and then for our innovation, we've got another 5 action items, and then 4 of them that are specifically related to our human capital. So 17 all in total. And these short-term action items have a deadline of achieving our action items by December of 2025. So we're about halfway through this year. And so I'm just going to go through, I'm not going to read every single thing, but just to give you an idea. So when we talk about customer service, our goal for customer service was to provide a variety of quality recreation, leisure, and educational experiences while increasing value through new and existing amenities as needed to address our community need. And when we talk about customer service, we think about those words that you see on the right-hand side. So we're making ourselves aware of the interactions, the relationships, the knowledge that we provide for our customers, the quality of service, how we brand, provide an image that's recognizable, using our partnerships to achieve all of our goals, and then that quality of service that we're going to be providing. So the first action item that we have is to develop educational resources through mission-based media platforms, signage, and at community outreach events. And here are a couple of examples of what we've achieved so far towards our goal. You'll notice these little stars, and they have different letters, P, R, M, and G, representative of each division. So for each division who has a responsibility for that action item, that's where they're identified. So staff in parks, recreation, museums, and golf course, all 4 divisions have a responsibility for contributing to this particular action item. So creating educational videos that we post on social media and to our websites, making sure we have a presence at community outreach events. And this is not inclusive of everything that we do, but just giving some good examples. And then really, especially with our new communications coordinator, really focusing on how we get information to the public, the variety of different ways. We have 2 new TV displays that are on a constant rotation. So we just added one at Leonard Hall. So any foot traffic that's coming into that facility can see what's going on. We use QR codes to direct people direct to our websites. We've got one down at Carver Rec Center. We have one that's been at gymnastics. It's just a great way to get information in front of people when they're in our facilities. And then also focusing on other things like thunderstorm safety guide or doing park tours. So last Friday we launched a new series that we're doing where we have short videos that walk you through a park. So I don't know if any of you saw that. We did one at Elms, and I think we're launching Myrtle Point tomorrow. But just a different way to educate people on what actually amenities exist in our parks and our facilities. So that will be an ongoing project as we try to document everything in our department. The second action item is to engage stakeholders and special interest groups through a variety of education sessions, open houses, and we wanted to put some sort of quantifier on there. So we want to make sure that we're doing it at least twice a year. Most likely, we're probably going to do it a little bit more. But public outreach, every month we have a presence at the public library where they have an open house. We offer Citizens Academy. Through participation with county budget planning and public forums, we are a part of that process as well. Open houses at our museums. We're also involved in environmental education workshops and partnering with our the Community Development Corporation and other partners with the community gardens or the Audubon Society or Sierra Club. So just making sure that we're constantly focused on those things. We want to enhance current stakeholder input surveys, offer public meetings, and create input group sessions. The Sports Complex project is a perfect example. We held a public meeting right in this room. We offered opportunity online. So think of a lot of different variety of ways that we can get input from a variety of different groups, people, special interests. We make sure that we work really hard at making online input forms available. So whether that's evaluations or feedback, getting any kind of input for special projects, and then of course, public meetings. So we have just a few more action items under customer service on the next slide. This is a big one for us, updating our marketing plan to encompass strategic actions that identify key promotional initiatives. So I am the lead on this. So this is something that's on our list of things that we are starting to really develop and have a plan moving forward. So the next update that you hear from me will have a little bit more detail on that, but really being hyper-focused on how we market and how we get information about what we have to offer. We also want to enhance our marketing materials to be accessible for all individuals. So Spanish translation, several places we've started to have those items available via either brochures. The video that we just launched last Friday is also available in Spanish. Signage in certain areas, making sure that we have those things translated. And it also goes beyond that, too. It's also for those, maybe some people are not computer savvy, making sure that we have paper options available for input, making sure that we have in-person opportunities. So making sure that those materials are accessible in multiple ways. We want to engage community partners and have a presence at community events annually to reach different demographics. So making sure that we're in different parts of the county, different interest groups, arts, sports, a wide variety of different interests, wellness days, monthly outreach and different community fairs, the library, and then making sure that we have representation at events throughout the county. Okay? So our next goal is based on fiscal stewardship, and what we mean by this is we want to demonstrate fiscal stewardship by enhancing programs, services, and facilities to generate growth and functionality. So thinking about revenue growth, but also productivity and cost recovery, the efficiency, and then making sure that we're transparent with financial results, doing good reporting. And so one of the, I think we've got 2 action items for this goal, but we want to be able to enhance and update participation reports on an annual basis for all programs, events, and services. Now, annual reports and monthly reports and financial reports aren't anything new, but what we want to do is not do it in isolation within our department, but we want our entire department to move forward in the same way. So making sure that we include the same type of information and then compiling it all together with a whole entire department annual report, a little bit more inclusive than what we currently have. Then another thing that we've been participating in is Park Metrics, and that's through the National Recreation and Park Association. And it's a way to identify all of your metrics and your reporting, and you can compare it to other agencies in the country. And then they set these standards, X number of acreage or X number of residents should equal this much acreage. This much park acreage should equal this much full-time employees, just as some example. And so it does a lot of things, but those are just 2 small examples. And so that will be done on an annual basis. We want to make sure that we're developing reporting requirements for all our programs and facilities and create appropriate incremental tracking reports. So far with museums, that's been on an ongoing basis. We've got new park usage reports that we're using. And making sure we're implementing those, and then, of course, for all of our programs. And then we have monthly reports, department updates, and then strategic planning. We've developed a tracking report to make sure that we are on target for our short, mid, and long-term goals, our objectives. Organization innovation, we want to promote agency, stakeholder, and community engagement through innovative means while fostering the preservation of natural, historical, and cultural resources in a prudent manner. So really when we look at development, design, technology, and our systems and how that affects safety in our environment. So one of the action items includes developing a management plan for maintenance, preservation, and renovation of historic buildings. Museums does a fantastic job with this. It actually was just recently updated. And then also making sure that we're continually looking at our maintenance and operation manuals and updating them at least on an annual basis, if not as needed. And then we want to promote the department inventory through the use of drone imaging, QR code signage, and website enhancements in collaboration with our amenities location map. So I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but we have been able to receive drone video footage of all of our 23 park sites, which is awesome, as well as photos. And then we are continually updating the inventory of all of our photos and videos, especially with seasons. You know, you don't want to put a winter picture up in the summertime. And so making sure, especially with our communications coordinator, is doing a fantastic job so far. We've set a plan for how we're going to make sure we improve our inventory. And then creating signage in parks. We've kind of been a little bit behind on that, and so we're really stepping it up and making sure that parks have appropriate signage, use of QR codes so that people can get more information right there on the spot. So we're making great progress and are on target with that one. And then we had set a goal to research options for utilizing a GIS platform for asset life cycle management. So we have a system, or the county does, known as CityWorks. It's an asset management software program, and how we incorporate all of our facilities and all of our programs, not just our parks, but also our museums, our rec facilities, and so working towards full utilization of that system. And then another action item would be to provide recommendations for the purchase of an improved web-based registration system, and that was a huge positive win for us this fiscal year versus having to wait. That is in process, so a purchase order has been approved and received, and planning is underway. And so that is a major project that's going to take a lot of energy and effort, and hopefully we can get that implemented in December or January, so within the next 6 to 7 months. And then simultaneously, we are researching options for a comprehensive golf system that incorporates all of our operations at the golf course. Right now, they have 2 separate different systems, one for the restaurant and one for the pro shop and tee times. We're looking for a system that incorporates all of that.
That's wonderful.
It is. And then the increase of Wi-Fi access for the public and the department to streamline services and improve security. The biggest one on our list is for a request to somehow figure out how we can get Wi-Fi in our waterfront parks so that we can eliminate the cash handling situation. So we can go more towards cards or passes or pre-purchases, those sorts of things. But that is indicative on having Wi-Fi available. So working closely with our IT department to achieve those goals. And then lastly, human capital, which probably is one of the more important, because we can't do what we do without the human component of that. So creating a sustainable organization, making sure we're competent, we're developing leaders, we're increasing that knowledge, creating that culture in our environment. So we want to be able to sustain a leader organization supporting these things. And so some of those action items to establish a workforce development program to address employee needs and identify recruitment strategies. This has kind of been a big year for us. We've been able to dive into some things that we haven't had the time to allocate towards it, especially with internships. The last thing I want is someone coming on board as an intern and they're just not really doing anything. I want there to be some focus to it. So we've had some great partnerships with St. Mary's Riken High School, with St. Mary's County Public Schools, and St. Mary's College. We've also participated in a peer assistance program. One of our managers was able to conduct a leadership training at St. Mary's College, mentoring youth to get them interested in the different interests or fields of recreation and parks. So museums as a career path and how you can do that as a career. Coordinate services with Department of Labor and then the Junior Historian Program. And then utilizing other partnerships such as the Tech Ed Center, in particular with the work that has been done at the community gardens. And then we want to be able to identify and provide opportunities for employees to participate in a variety of events, meetings, and partner collaborations. I want to make sure that we include and spread that knowledge. Yesterday is a perfect example, making sure we have staff, not just the parks manager, but everybody from golf or whoever else is able to participate in something like that turf tour of the Camden Yards. What a wonderful opportunity. We want to make sure we focus on that. And we want to do a lot of these things through partnerships. So working with the Arts Council, Audubon Society, Sierra Club, our volunteers, making sure that we collaborate and provide training through meetings, employee engagement, and then also recognition and how we're going to do that and coordinate with partners to recommend awards and honors. And then I'm not going to read through all of this, but this is our opportunity to document, and this is not a complete list by any means, but we want to provide opportunities to attend professional conferences, meetings, and workshops. And so we're very much committed to professional development. Many of our staff are nationally certified in a variety of different specialties, but also certified Parks and Recreation professional is a designation that we all strive for, and attending state conferences, attending leadership institutes, all these different trainings, and then all these certifications. And if you look at number 8, these are all the certifications that exist across our department. And so we are very much committed to that ongoing professional development. Okay?
Very important.
And then the last one, I believe, provide opportunities to engage with state, regional, and national professional groups. So being involved with organizations outside of St. Mary's County. There's a lot to be learned, as I know all of you know in your professions as well, national associations and opportunities, and just being able to interact with others. We want to make sure that that is a priority. Okay? So you can go ahead and click through all this, Christy. So this is just a summarization of kind of those key words of how we want to approach our work within each of these goals. So that's just a reiteration there. And then our commitment, what we set for ourselves when we put this plan together, was that the employee review and progress tracking would happen a minimum of 2 times per year. And that's official. That's with everybody outside, not just the leadership team, but all of our full-time staff. We're going to gather input from citizens on a regular basis and be consistent about that and identify our gaps, provide innovative programs and services, and then update citizens throughout the year on the plan's progress, as we are this evening for you guys. And then I just wanted to put a plug in here for the county. So St. Mary's County is undergoing the comprehensive plan process. So St. Mary's 2050. It is a plan that will really look at the course of the next 25 years, what St. Mary's County needs to look like. And it's not just recreation and parks, but it's in every facet. And so it's going to identify long-term priorities, guiding principles, and set those milestones. So we're encouraging everybody to please fill out that input for citizens. And there's the address there. It's also on the front of the county website, but we definitely want to get as many people, as many citizens as possible to complete that
Absolutely.
summary. So any questions from you guys?
Board members, any questions?
The drones footage that you said, is that on the website? Or that you guys keep that in-house and are working to market that out?
So that's what we're working on. So that's on our list of things. There are some areas where that is available, and then we're releasing it through social media, and we'll be updating our web pages. So right now, each park has their own web page, and we're going to be working to update each of those pages to include drone videos. So now that we have somebody dedicated to doing that work, should be able to put together some pretty cool things.
Awesome. Thanks.
Told some of that last meeting, I believe. when they were
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and then I think I see some of it too on the intro to like the county meetings or whatever. But having that many of it every park is pretty cool.
Yep.
So.
And then for the CIP funding for the 26 budget, so it's in there to improve the Wi-Fi at the water parks?
Yeah, so we make a request to the IT department every budget planning process, and so that is always at the top of the list. Now, that relies on a lot of things working together to make that come, we don't make those final decisions, but that's what our recommendations are.
But you're putting it in,
Are our priorities.
okay. And then has any analysis been done on, like, is it a problem now for cash only? I mean, are people having to be turned away because they only have cash, or like, do we know
Not that I've
revenue
heard.
wise?
Yeah, I mean, our beaches are pretty popular. We've been doing the cash collection system for years now. Really haven't had too many complaints. There is also opportunity for people to purchase passes, which highly encourage. If you want to get a pass, it is well worth it because it is very inexpensive overall versus if you go every few weekends or every weekend and you're paying that at the door rate, so to speak. It's far more prudent to get a pass. So that can be purchased online. You can use a credit card. You can come into our offices and pay for that. So I think because we have those different options, I'm not hearing the complaint regarding that. I think from an internal operational processing, having cash is a little bit more, opens the door up for all kinds of other issues, and we want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I know even when I've gone to a couple of high school softball games, there was no cash. Like
Right.
everyone brought out their phone and
Yeah.
got
and
their
our,
ticket.
Our
so.
new system will aid in that too. So from what I understand, and I'm not making any promises because we're getting ready to do the kickoff implementation meetings with the company, but you can process things even if you're not connected to Wi-Fi, and then it will upload once you get into
Later.
Wi-Fi range. So we're going to see what that looks like.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. Anyone else? No? Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for your time.
So I think we're over to you, Christy, for your CIP updates.
Yeah, so Ray and I had discussed bringing back some more regular updates for you
Mm-hmm.
guys. So when I have good things to share, I will. Hopefully that's every meeting.
Yeah.
Some of the completed projects, we have recently finished Chaptico Park Playground, the 7th District Park Playground. You guys are aware that we did the renovations at Nicollet Skate Park. The stage and sensory path were done at Lexington Manor Passive Park. The tennis court renovations has finally been completed. We had to take a pause in those renovations till the weather warmed up. And then we have installed water fountains and water bottle filling stations at 7th District and Chaptico, and we're waiting on a part to be able to install right back at the skate park at Nicollet Park.
And when you talk about the water fountains and filling stations at 7th District, is there something by the dog park too, or is this is more for
It's in the building, literally, it's right across the
bes-
street from the dog park.
Okay, perfect.
Maybe I get to it. Chancellors, is that on the? I know I've asked about it a couple of times, and Roy had talked about last time of like, hey, probably not installing a fountain per se, but there's enough on the central building at the 4 baseball softball fields of getting some sort of bottle filling apparatus for use because there's not one there. I don't know if there's one by the soccer fields either.
I don't believe so.
He's getting a price on that.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Next is I got to scroll. Few pictures. So some of the pictures at Chancellor's Run, let's see what you did to me, Jeff. It's Chaptico Park. One of the new things that came out through POS this year, the program Open Space Funding, was funding for communication boards. Although we've been including the communication boards in all of our playgrounds for several years now, it was a little bonus to get a little extra grant funding that could go towards every other things. So good plug for another positive program through program Open Space. Chaptico Park does have the fence in front of the playground as it did before. It's a prettier fence than the black chain link, but to keep traffic from going in there.
It's a good idea.
Scroll down, and then you have 7th District Park, really tucked in between, next to the, it's across the street from the dog park and next to the tennis courts. This is one of the first playgrounds we've done that had those full shade structures on top. Shade does move, but this is also tucked in between trees, so hopefully this one will stay pretty shaded, went with much cooler colors than, I don't know how many of you are familiar with 7th, but it was a lot of red there, so
It was.
hopefully it'll keep it a little bit cooler. Here is your brand new stage at Lexington Manor Passive Park. And this was during the Cherry Blossom Festival for the kids dancing and the speak. You can see on that bottom right where all the chairs are set up. That was specifically done as an accessibility feature as well. So individuals that are utilizing any kind of accessibility device have that hard surface pathway to get and be able to watch everything on the stage. So that was a long time coming, and it looks fantastic.
Do we know the usage of the stage since it's been installed? I mean, do people go down and use it?
To my
Open,
knowledge,
like,
there
kind
hasn't
of-
been organized activity. I know the Arts Council has discussed a possible concert series that they're looking into, but it's available for any of the events that are hosted inside of our park.
Okay.
But it was just finished in March, so it hasn't really had a whole lot of time there yet either. And this is our sensory path. This is a project I've been working towards for several decades. But how this ended up working out was through lots of partnerships. It is actually Chopticon High School students that did the actual design and painting. It was hosted and monitored by the Arts Council and sponsored by Sherman-Williams. We got discounted rates on all the paint.
very
So
nice.
it really was a full-blown partnership. Each one of these little activity areas, there's 4, are in front of the exercise/play stations at Lexington Manor Passive Park. And the goal is to continue this type of activity and eventually have them connect all the way down the lane. But it is a long road. So the students worked with both of our recreation coordinators that are have experience with therapeutic recreation, and was given quite a few pointers on different ways to make it more sensory. So that was just a fantastic, and that was done just this week. They finished painting Monday.
That's awesome.
Some of the upcoming stuff, things you've heard of, things that maybe you haven't. We are still doing some ADA upgrades at Jarbosville. Next fiscal year will be 5th District. The Arts Council has partnered with us again to do another bathroom mural at Baggett Park. We, as Ray told you, with program open space funding grants, we'll be doing the light retrofit at 5th District, Field 2 and 3. And that's a big one. Even the poles have to be replaced at those fields. They're so old. New playgrounds coming, St. Clement Shores. Be on the lookout because we are going to do some citizen polls for some different designs for that playground. We get a lot of comments that they're all the same. Well, this is going to be everybody's chance to put some input on 3 very different designs on what we could do there. Cecil Park will actually, although the design process will start earlier, that will be a spring 27 project. But our focus is going to be a fully accessible playground that has a strong focus for children with autism.
Very nice.
So, Lancaster Park is a inclusive and our most accessible playground in the county. Wick is very close by as a close second, and then Cecil Park will join those as some of the best around. Dorsey Park Tennis Court renovations, Ray spoke about that briefly. Dorsey Park will stay tennis. It is just being completely redone. They have aged. The new skate parks at Nicollet and Chaptico are still on schedule for this fall. I'm hoping to be able to actually give you guys a start date by the time we meet next time. I'll probably know ahead of time if you really want to know before the August meeting. Chancellor's Run Regional Park, we are renovating the basketball courts, and the tennis courts are going into pickleball courts, as we spoke of earlier. And then the last mention on here, Ray also brought this up. We met this week with the United States Tennis Association and the Mid-Atlantic Tennis Association. We're going to do a full assessment of all the facilities, and that's both tennis and pickleball. To really examine what we have and what should our future goals be One of the things they mentioned in our initial meeting was everybody wants dedicated. So really looking at our facilities and how can we provide dedicated tennis and dedicated pickleball in a fair, equitable way. And then what do we need to do for the future to enhance that? So I'm really excited about what may come out of there.
Well, I am glad to see the basketball court renovations at Chancellor's because I don't think I've ever been in that park and not seen someone on those basketball courts.
Something that I have been trying to do that kind of goes into Jessica's discussion in the strategic plan about our maintenance and operations is doing, just like we have a replacement schedule for our playgrounds, and everybody knows at this point, every 20 years, we're redoing playgrounds for safety and accessibility improvements. But going through and doing the same thing for the tennis courts, for the basketball courts, and really tracking that down so we can say when was it done last? When is it due for the next time? And clearly that helps with budgeting and predicting what's going to happen in that 5-year CIP plan.
Wonderful.
And that's all I have for you.
Okay. Any questions, board members?
Christina, will that basketball court renovation include fiberglass backboards and breakaway rims?
That's the question that I will ask Roy, and I will get it back to you.
That would be nice. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, that is all of the agenda items for tonight. Did we have any other items board members needed to bring up? Surprise agenda items? No?
I don't know about agenda items, but good luck to all the Little League teams in their championship games this week. I know you have a daughter playing there. We had our game. Unfortunately, didn't work out the way we wanted to, but other teams there. I will say on social media and talking to coaches and parents, I think we're going to get another round of, hey, why don't we have turf fields for baseball and softball? Playoffs were supposed to be spread out so that the teams could put forth their best pitchers. Unfortunately, it was condensed into 1 week. So I went to a game last night where a kid who had not pitched all year was pitching in a game to try and make it to a championship game. And unfortunately, that kid struggled, as we, as any of you have coached or had kids. And that was mainly due to the weather. Can't control the weather. As you said before, it's been an unnaturally wet spring. So I think there will be a continued push for some turf fields. A couple weeks ago, there was a downpour that went through Chancellor's. We had a doubleheader that game, or we're supposed to have a doubleheader that evening. The 6 o'clock game got rained out by about 6:15. 20 minutes of rain came through. Pretty good downpour, but I will say the fields drained well enough that the 8 o'clock games could be played,
Wonderful.
where in the past it would have wiped out. That amount of rain would have wiped out at least that evening, if not the next day as well. So it does appear the improvements down at Chancellor's are well worth it. So just want to give that mention.
All right. So we'll just jump right into board member time. So that was good timing.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Jeff, did you have anything?
Now, kind of second All-Stars as well at the end of the month. So pushing through there. They're doing playoffs right now, and then they're going to All-Stars. So last year, I can't remember from the post, it was like 5 or 6 teams made it to the states. And then I'm not sure if anybody made it past states because obviously, I was tracking it all until we fell out and like a good parent. But anyway, that just shows the community and how much the district is involved and good in the baseball and softball community. To your comments though, and Mr. Bivens and I talked about this at length. He's well aware of the turf stuff. I think heavily in favor and on board and understands the utility. It's just working through the fiscal things that I think we all kind of understand. So the more that we get in, the more we don't grease that wheel, right? Squeaky wheel gets the grease kind of thing is awesome because as some of these start to get on here, it's like anything else. And you guys, it's like a revolving door. I know of like, hey, we need pickleball courts. Hey, guess what? We got pickleball courts. And they're like, yeah, cool. And then right behind them is, hey, we need skate park stuff. And you're like, oh, it never ends. But it's something we learned yesterday, and Mr. Copsey had said, especially, so it's good to hear about the fields as well, because I was there that day too. The more water the fields get, the more they'll absorb, which I tell that to my wife who runs arenas, and she's like, yeah, no kidding. That's the science of welcome to fields. But I think Mr. Copsey yesterday had said as well, he's like, yeah, they were saying at Camden Yards, they soak the field so much there's standing water before they leave for the evening. And then in the morning, they're able to drag it, and it's beautiful. So I think that was a little bit of a like right. Right, with the
That
dirt edge,
mix.
yeah. But specifically at Chancellor's. And I could just see Roy's head going like, all right, I got some different ideas on how to make fields. If they're like that anyway, then hey, when it comes to rain, like just get off until the lightning goes away, and then we can get back. So that's good to hear. And then the water fountain at Chancellor. So that was all I had. And you said you look into that. So I'm good. Thank you.
Mr. Hanley?
Just from the school system perspective, SMCPS had a very successful championship season, as highlighted by Chapticon girls softball team winning the 3A state championship.
Pride inside, right here.
There you
Always
go.
brave. Once brave, always brave.
There you go. And then the very next day, the Leonardtown Raiders won the 4A state championship in softball.
You did awesome.
And then the same weekend, all 3 high schools had individual champions at the state track meet in sprinting events and shot put and discus.
That's fabulous. Good.
So it was a great time.
Lots of amazing athletes in our county, for sure. Okay. Mr. McDonald?
Thank you very much. I have nothing.
Okay. Board members, I just want to remind everyone that we do not have a July meeting on the calendar because it's so close to 4th of July, so I hope everyone has a happy and safe 4th. And then in August, Christy, I'm tracking welcoming new members, so hopefully we'll have new members to welcome. And community group and partner presentations. So I don't know if out there we have anyone that would like to come and speak to the board, to reach out to Christy, to get on the agenda. So looking forward to that. And remind me when summer stock auditions, anyone? I didn't get to look it up before, but I know that's a big thing for us as well, and a great way of.
So summer stock practices are underway, rehearsals are underway.
Okay,
And they will be, the show this year, there's a big change. It is going to be at Chopticon High School. So there are major renovations, I guess, going on at Great Mills High School. We're unable to utilize that, so the show will be at Chopticon, which has welcomed us with open arms. So we're very excited about that. And the north part of the county has a little bit of a shorter commute. Tarzan, so Disney's Tarzan. It will be 8 shows over the last 2 full weekends of July. So I believe it's July 19th. Of course, I didn't bring my glasses up here.
18, 19.
Yep, there you go. So it'll be the last 2 full weekends of July. The commissioners did make a change on ticket prices. So it is one price for all shows for adults and one price for all shows for children. So there is a change on that. You can purchase tickets starting July 1 online or come into our offices and make those purchases. It's going to be a fantastic show. Encourage everybody. And of course, we have continued support with the Arts Council as one of our main sponsors. So it's going to be a terrific show.
That's wonderful. Thanks for running up for that. Well, I wish everyone good luck. That is rehearsing and trying out and
always
and
do a
doing their
great-
best.
Yep. And it's fantastic talent. There's a ton of talent when it comes to the theatrical arts here in St. Mary's County. So it's a family show. Come out, enjoy it, and get your tickets early.
That's awesome. Yes, they do tend to sell out quickly. Okay. Well, that's all I have. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Have a great night.
Excellent.